Hi, Barbara.
It was
Barbara's in the
it's
dark.
always it's fun hanging out with Freddie in Las Vegas because people are always coming up and saying, "Oh, you did this thing with me and that phobia was gone forever or that pain was gone forever." And so we were on the elevator together and I was wearing my suit. I had just finished speaking and this guy was like, "Oh, what are you guys here for?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm a hypnotist." And he goes, "Oh, I want to quit drinking and gambling." And I happened to have our videographers were right there. And so we stepped off the elevator and I just did a parts protocol, set up ideomotor communication and did a parts protocol. And he just sent me a video today, which is 40 seconds long. And he said, I had him send me a video testimonial. And he said, these people pulled me off the elevator and they hypnotized me. And I didn't think it was possible. And I haven't drank or gambled since. And he said, I drank or gambled every single day. And I haven't drank or gambled since. And it's been almost a month now. And yeah, he's clean and he said my life has totally changed. So when you get this stuff down, it's pretty fun and pretty powerful.
And that Nick hypnotized him standing up in a busy corridor in a
In the
hotel
hallway.
in Las Vegas, in the hallway. Yeah. It was an absolute amazing thing. Yeah.
And to be honest, I was nervous because Freddie was there, the videographer was there. I was exhausted because I just finished speaking, and I couldn't say no. So
Vegas, where everybody's drinking and gambling.
yeah, and I think he had some drinks in him already, so it was like, and he didn't drink and gamble since. So it was pretty fun. All right, are we ready to start? Is it time already?
So. I think so. I think everyone's here. Hi, Yasmin. Hi, Tracy. Sunita, lovely to see you. Chris, good to see you.
Chris, good to see you, Martin.
You're keeping up the. Oh no, there's Alan here. Oh, and it's Martin. I thought it was only one man here, Chris, but you're not absolutely alone. So good to see you.
Mark's on too. He's just videos off. So how many of you, I think we were at 29 or 30. How many of you have been on all of our calls so far? I know a few of you pretty close.
Nope.
Everybody's missed a few. All right. Well, that makes me feel better.
I think Chris is probably
Chris has been on a lot.
All timers.
Blaine's been on a lot. Nolene's been on a lot of them. We've seen a lot of these. I know Martin's been on a lot. All right. So I want to make a few announcements before we get into creating and stepping into your future self. Freddie and I, after some discussion, have decided to include, I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago, to make the Breakthrough Broadcast part of the subscription program. So that includes the library. It'll be this call every single week. Right now, that's $20 a month. In 2 weeks, I'm going to raise the price. We're going to raise the price to $50 a month. So if you're getting a lot of value from this, these calls every week, subscribe now because in two weeks, we're going to raise the price to 50. And as part of that, because we want to add more value, and one thing that Freddie and I talked about that I want to do, and I kind of downloaded 2 days ago, was a 12-week money program I'm going to call the Wealth Generating Mind. And so this is I've had other things going on in my life, other priorities, and I looked at my life and I was like, you know what? I've used all of this money stuff. I'm not using it right now. If I was to master this area, what would I do? And just asking that question, you guys know how the creativity process works. I started getting all these ideas and I pretty much wrote a 30-page ebook and a 12-week outline for mastering money, limiting beliefs around money, changing your money frequency. Is that something that would interest everybody? Yes. Okay. So we're thinking about how to structure that. We may jump on, do some kind of what we normally do with our calls, do group-oriented hypnosis, and then do the money program. So the idea would be each week there would be different principles and different assignments, from kind of creating your net worth statement to designing your dream life. And then there would be hypnosis recordings that would go with all of those. So that's probably at least a few weeks out from starting. But does anyone have any feedback, questions, ideas? Or does that sound like it'd be a pretty fun thing to do? Okay, excellent. And you would all be up for listening to recordings at night, doing the assignments, like putting in a little bit more okay, lots of head shaking, yes. All right, excellent. Cool. I know it's gonna be it's super impactful. As I would like sat down for 5 hours in a row and I wrote it out and I was like just so excited as it was coming out. I wanted to share with you guys. So, okay, today let's do some hypnosis around the future self. So I know we always kind of do something similar, and the goal for these weekly calls is really to just connect you with that subconscious part of you, reorient you continuously to your goals, to what you want, and to what you're becoming. Because we all know we go through our daily lives, we interact with people who might not have a high vibration like we do here. And sometimes, is it possible that we get sucked back down into the level of our peer groups or our surroundings, and we may lose track of what we want and where we're going? Does that ever happen to any of you? I'm sure not. All right, so let's just get you all tuned up. We'll lock you into that goal, into that target, and you're gonna be feeling great. You're gonna have a new vibration and a really clear picture of who you're becoming and where you're going. Sound good? All right, and we are recording. Good deal. Okay, so let's take a minute, and if some of you have a notepad or on your phone or your computer, just take a moment, take a few deep breaths, and connect with a few things that you want to change, or a few things that you want to embody and become. And just write those down. Let those come to you. And don't limit yourself with the how. When we try to rationalize how, that's when we interfere with our mechanism. So if you want to be more grateful, more happy, more charismatic, wealthier, more fun, more spontaneous, more orderly, organized, disciplined, that future you, maybe a few weeks, a few months, a few years from now, write out those traits and write them out again in the present tense. The subconscious is in the present tense. I was writing a new onboarding email sequence for this subscription that we're moving everybody to. And some of you are already in it, but on the 4th email, I wanted to add some testimonials because those are so impactful for people to know that they can change. And I was going through some of my old ones, and I had a coaching client a few years ago, and his name was Lenny. And Lenny sent me a video testimonial, and he said, you know, months after working with Nick, I went back and listened to one of the hypnosis recordings that he made for me, and I realized I had accomplished all of the goals in it. And what often happens when the subconscious mind is locked onto that target is you just achieve that thing, you bring it into your life, and you may not even notice it until someone goes, hey, remember when I hypnotized you to do that? And you go, oh yeah, I guess you did do that, right? And so when you lock onto these new traits, it just becomes so obvious that that's who you are that you forget you were ever anything else. You forget that you like had to try to do that. You forget that you had to be hypnotized to do that. It's just obvious and you feel it. How many of you have ever experienced this? When you just walk in a room, you're like, yeah, of course I'm confident in this room. And someone goes, well, you know, a year ago you had social anxiety, and you go, you know what? I guess now that you mention it, I guess I did. So that's what this process is like. This is why it's so fun to do this stuff, because I get messages from you guys about the transformation. So is everybody clear on what they want to change? Perfect. All right, so we're going to do a little hypnosis, and I'm going to have you kind of toggle back and forth between current state and future state. And you're going to step in and out of each. And you're going to get to feel the difference. And you're going to get to imagine living the life of each of those, embodying the traits. And your subconscious mind is going to say, get to evaluate which one feels better, which one serves me more, which one's more aligned. And then we'll step into the future self and just keep you there. And that'll just be who you are going forward. Any thoughts, Freddie, before we start?
Only that there are two things that I symptom scale, and I do it for the same reason you were just talking. You know, and the things I symptom scale, fear and pain, because like you were saying, you can remember being in pain, but once the pain's gone, it's hard to remember what it felt like, because not being in pain is the normal state. And it's the same with fear. You know, you can remember being afraid. Once that fear's gone, it's very hard to remember what the fear felt like. And that's what I think hypnosis, that's why hypnosis is so powerful and such a great tool, because the fear state is the abnormal state. You know, when I see people for drugs or alcohol or smoking, you know, smoking cigarettes is a totally unnatural thing to do. So when someone quits, it shouldn't be like some big epiphany. It should be 3 weeks later, suddenly you realize I haven't had a cigarette, or I haven't been afraid, or I haven't had that pain. And that's what you're talking about. When we change at that level, it's kind of a natural way of changing. And that's what I love about hypnosis. And it's not until someone reminds you, you know, you used to be afraid of this. And they go, well, yeah, but I forgot when I lost that fear. So that's the only thing I can say on that topic. And that's why this is so great. So we're going to remind you in a few weeks' time, when you're living that life you want. Do you remember what happened? Do you remember when you had that meeting together? Just to remind you, because you won't remember us.
All right, let's get started. Everybody just get comfortable. And you don't have to go too quickly into trance, but you could if you'd like. As you begin to relax. And just bring your awareness into your breath. And breathe it in and imagine that oxygen, that air, moving through your entire brain, energizing and relaxing. All of your neurons, the billions of neural connections, which number more than the stars in the universe. And with every breath, realizing how incredible and how powerful that brain of yours is. And get a sense of both hemispheres of your brain connecting to each other. With a free flow of information and energy, moving through all of the lobes of your brain, down your brainstem, your neocortex, your limbic system, your amygdala, your pineal and pituitary glands filled with oxygen, energy, and light. That's right. And think of the person in the world that you love the most. Think of an important and emotional moment with them, a moment of deep connection. And feel that and see that in your heart space. Knowing that you can change and grow and become the person you are meant to be for them. Because you know you'll often do more for other people than you will for yourself. So see their face, feel that love in your heart, and feel a cord of energy connecting your heart and your brain. A flow of information and energy with every breath. And feel that energy moving through your entire body now, down your fingertips, down your toes, relaxing, enjoyment, allowing you to go even deeper into yourself. In a moment, not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to count from 5 to 1. And I'm going to say the word sleep. You can allow yourself to go into that perfect and comfortable state of trance. 5, relaxing even more. 4, a sense of heaviness and calm. 3, times deeper. 2, 1, and just sleep. Allow that sense of trance to flow through every part of you. And I want you to look ahead and see yourself as you are now. And see all of the traits that you have, what your life is like on its current path, how you carry yourself, how you think, how you behave. And notice the emotional states that you tend to live in. And just get a clear sense of you in the present state. And next to that version of you, I want you to see the version of you that you're about to become. With those new traits. That's right. Those new emotions, those new behaviors, those new capabilities. And all of the things in your life that you want and are capable of achieving. And as you look at them side by side, simply notice the difference. Maybe notice the difference in their aura, how they carry themselves, how they move through life, how much energy, gratitude, love they have. And get really clear on the difference between these two versions of you. In a moment, I'm going to have you step into the current state body and just feel how life is now. Then you'll step out and step into the future state body. And when you do that, you'll feel the difference. In a moment, I'm going to count from 3 to 1. You're going to move closer with every number until you finally integrate into that current and present state. And you're just going to notice and allow the feelings and the sensations of life as it is now. 3, drifting closer to the present state version of you. 2, feeling that energy stronger and stronger. And 1, integrating in noticing how life is now. The good, the bad, what you want to change. You may not feel any difference at all. And when you get a sense of that, go ahead and drift back out, looking back at the two versions of you again. Because in a moment, you're going to drift into that future version of you. And see that future version of you even more clearly now. And get a sense of what it's going to feel like, what life is going to be like, and the type of person you're going to be in just a moment when you drift in. In a moment, I'm going to count from 3 to 1. When I say 1, you will integrate fully into that future version of you. You will feel what it feels like. You'll experience life from this new way of being. New emotions, new sensations, new energy. In 3, getting even clearer, getting a stronger sense of who you're becoming. 2, feeling that energy stronger and stronger. More enthusiasm, more joy, more authenticity. And 1, drifting into that future version of you, embodying these new traits, these new way of being, new emotions. That's right. Feeling those sensations, allowing those sensations through your fingers and your toes, through the muscles in your face, and through the hairs on your head. And as this version of you, what is life like now? What's different? And feel the difference. Notice how different you respond to people. Maybe your home even looks different. Maybe your business looks different. What emotions do you have as this person that you didn't have before? How much more enjoyable is life? How much more authentic do you feel now? And as you get a sense of that, let the subconscious memorize this feeling, memorize this difference. Because in just a moment, not yet, but in a moment, your subconscious mind is going to lock onto these changes. But first, go ahead and drift out. Drift out of that body, feeling that energy fade, feeling the sensations fade, coming back, looking again at those two versions of you. And now you get to decide which version of you do you want to become going forward. And as you see them side by side, and you consider and you weigh the differences, decide which one you're going to be. After all, you get to create yourself out of your own imagination. And once you've decided, in a moment, those two versions of you are going to melt together as the one that you've decided to be. And the one will transform into the other. Once that happens, you'll step in, and that'll just be who you are. So see that new version of you and the old version of you moving together into one incredible, powerful, ideal version of you. Those two forms taking on one, embodying all of the traits that you are about to embody. And see all of those traits amplified, stronger and stronger, more energy, more motivation, more authenticity, more enthusiasm, because in a moment, you're going to drift into that version of you. That version of you that you've created. And once you do, there's no going back. So make sure that's what you want. Because in a moment, I'm going to count from 3 to 1. You're going to drift in, and your subconscious mind is going to lock onto every single cell this new program, this new energy, and this new way of being. In 3, moving closer and closer, feeling the energy of this new version of you that you're becoming, healthy, strong, abundant. 2, moving closer and closer, stronger and stronger, more of your incredible traits, more positive and fulfilling emotions. And 1, drifting all the way in, integrating all the way into your fingers and toes, every organ, every cell, every fiber, every atom of your being, vibrating with this new energy, with this new power, allowing this energy to move through every part of you like there's nothing you can do about it. And you can try to go back to your old way of being and notice what happens instead. Notice the harder you try to go back to your old life, the farther away it drifts. And just come up with a word or a symbol that represents what this state is for you, to remind you. What would you call this state, this new version of you? And when you're sure that it's locked into every cell, every fiber, let's check by imagining living your life as this person, in this new way of being. As you go through your life, what's different? How are you different? What areas of your life are you more successful in? What relationships are better? What positive emotions do you experience more of? What do you resolve easily in this state? And take a moment and just thank your subconscious mind. Thank all of your internal resources for the power that they hold, and for your ability to learn and transform and to become anything that you decide to become. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And this program, this new way of being, will continue to integrate and to lock into every cell. And it may be a few days from now, a few weeks from now, or a few months from now, when you realize what a massive transformation you've undergone. Or you may have someone in your life tell you, wow, you're so different. Something changed about you. 1, feeling back into your body. 2, noticing your breath. 3, feeling grateful for this group and for your commitment to yourself. 4, shifting and adjusting as you come back in fully. And 5, opening your eyes, feeling energized and calm whenever you're ready. Some of you looked like you had a pretty good experience there. I saw some emotions and some energy changes and all kinds of things happening. Who wants to share first? We got some chats here. I always forget about these.
Nolene's got a hand up.
I'm happy
Hi,
to share.
Nolene.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me clearly? That was a very weird experience for me. I had the feeling as though my brain was split in two, and the whole right side of my body, my brain activated, but right down the whole right-hand side of my body. And then as we integrated, I could feel that the task was to have that cloud over to the other side of my brain. It didn't quite get there, but I could see it in process. And I've
Well,
never had
maybe-
that experience before.
Interesting. It's maybe still processing. So
But absolutely the whole right-hand side of my brain and then straight through my body.
that's fascinating. Do you feel like you're right or left brain? Do you know? Like, are you
Well,
more?
I don't have a concept of what left and right brain is. What do you consider right brain as?
Well, so technically the left brain would be more the logical, rational, conscious mind. And the way I explain it, this isn't exactly accurate, but the right hemisphere is more of the subconscious, creative, intuitive, non-linear part of you.
I'm definitely right-brained.
Okay. Well, maybe that was just firing and active at the time then.
But yeah, it was very weird.
Good. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
I mean, can I make a comment, Nolene?
Yeah,
When you came on this call this morning, you haven't been well, have you?
No, I've been very sick.
I don't know if it's just my imagination, but you look different. Do you feel different?
Yes, at the
Health
moment,
wise.
this camera's putting me off colour.
No,
yeah,
but do you feel different than when you came on this morning? Because you look it.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, very. I'll say very odd. It's not very odd, but it is amazing. You know that you look healthier than you did when I saw you half hour ago. So
Well, I'm certainly ready to be it. Come on.
Look at all of her energy now. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing,
Very
Nolene.
I would agree, Noreen, we were one of the first on, and it's wonderful. You're just being, it's lovely, lovely around the eyes, especially. So, yeah, I noticed that as well. It's nice to see.
Good.
You look great the first time.
Sarah, yeah, Sarah's got her hand up.
Yeah, so my experience was really profound. So I noticed that the old self I was leaning to the left. I could feel being pulled to the left. And then the new self, I was pulled to the right. And then once we started that, talking to that new self, it's like my whole body shifted. I got taller. I could feel the energy, the confidence, the growth. And I felt like I wanted to jump through the ceiling. It was this wild, like I wanted to jump out of my seat and just shoot up to the sky. It was really powerful, really incredible.
Yeah.
That's great. That's good. I've actually never done this with anybody before, so I'm kind of glad you guys like this. This is good.
It was a great experience. We got Jess here, Jess Roper, and a few years ago, I don't know how long ago we met Jess. It must have been 2-3 years ago, beginning of COVID or something, wasn't it? And Jess had this dream. I mean, she's a champion kickboxer. You know, she's UK. You know, she holds UK champion titles, but she wanted to be a speaker, you know, like a global speaker. That was her dream, and she's achieved it. She's now talking all over the world. She's giving talks all over the world on motivation, and I'm sure that Jess went through a process like this in her own mind. Of you came up with, it was a thing called Ikigai, wasn't it? It was what was it you did, Jess?
Yeah,
You did a whole thing for us.
I didn't come up with Ikigai. It's a
Oh.
Japanese philosophy, but I incorporated that into what I presented at the UK Hypnosis Convention. So it's our reason for being. So identifying what we love, what we're good at, what we get paid for, and what the world needs. Uniting those 4 areas into our Ikigai.
You did a Fred talk, didn't you? I ran. I did a thing called a Fred talks. Okay, and Jess did one for us. So I think it's on my YouTube channel if you want to have a look at it. It's really worth looking at. Go to my YouTube channel. I think Freddie Jackman Hypnosis, and look for the Fred talks and look for Jess, and you'll find that that talk. But she's embodied the whole thing that Nick was talking about thinking about your future, stepping into it, feeling into it, get a sense of what it feels like. And then it's just happened. It hasn't just happened. I mean, Jess has worked at it, but she's achieved what she wanted to achieve. So yeah, it's a phenomenal thing. It's well done.
And that's really what we do every week, just in some different way, is to keep having you evolve, keep feeling into what you want to become, keep adapting and releasing old things. And it's, you know, it works when you show up and you do the work. Hi, Sandra.
Sounds off.
Hey there. Hi. Hey, 2 things. First of all, I didn't know there was Fred Talks. I'd like to be on a Fred Talk one day.
Yeah.
And second thing is, Nicholas, I just love that process. And I've done things like this with you before, but what was really extraordinary today is the bringing together in the way that you did was slightly different than I've ever experienced. And my favorite part was when they came together, there were like fireworks that shot off, like when they came together. It was really fun. I've never had that exact experience before, and it was really awesome. Thank you for that. It feels so good to have them brought together like that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, good. I didn't know I was going to do that until right at the last minute, because I decided, it just kind of came to me that I didn't want to have 2 different parts and leave like a doppelganger hanging off to the side. So I was like, why don't we push them together? Everything's united. There's no option to go any other way. And I'm glad that worked out for you.
I just loved it. Yeah, it was brilliant. And it was super helpful. Thank you.
Good. My pleasure. Hi, Veronica.
Hi, so I had kind of a similar experience that I like the fact that you integrated the 2 parts, because I feel a lot of times it's like a separate part. It's like your bad part and then you have a good part, right? And they're separate, but it's combining the 2 because it's kind of you're bringing yourself and who you are, combining it into something else. And I felt when they were merging, I kind of like, you know, felt like kind of like vibration going through my body. So that was very powerful. So thank you so much. It was a great session, Nicholas. Appreciate it.
Good.
Thanks,
My
Mark.
pleasure. My
You know,
pleasure.
it's our goal. And when we first spoke about this, we spoke about creating this a year ago, over a year ago now, when we met again in Las Vegas, Nick and I. And our goal, and it's been our goal all the way through, and it's our expectation and our intention, is to give you all the tools you need to create the life you want. You know, and we do that through these breakthrough broadcasts. We want to eliminate, you know, all of your limitations, any of your irrational fears that are holding you back, and that's our intention and our expectation. And I know some of you have been on my calls now for a few years, and you know, I woke up this morning and I was looking at my phone, as I do, and I was going through it, and I just thought, I have so much information. In fact, I probably have all the information I need to, you know, whatever. If I want a 6-pack, I know how to create a 6-pack. If I want to be totally healthy, I know all the nutrition I need. If I want no lines on my skin, I know how to use olive oil. I've learned everything on the internet. If I want to make millions of dollars, there's people only showing you how to do it. And so with all that information, you know, why am I not actually doing that at this point in time? And it's the same. We have all this information, don't we? You know, and some of you have been on these calls with me. We've done with Nick and I over the last year or whatever it is, and we have all this information. So the question for us is, what is stopping us from creating a life we absolutely want? If we haven't got it already, I know I've spoken about Sandra's questions. Sandra was just speaking a moment ago. She has those 2 best questions in the world. What has to happen for you to love yourself enough to create a life you want? If you're not living the life you want right now, if not, why not? Which I think are the 2 best questions in the world. But this morning, for whatever reason, I was reading this thing on the internet, and it was a story about this guy who was a farmer, and he had 3 kids. And he said, look, he said to the kids, he said, if you help around the house and help around the farm, when you're 12, I'll tell you the secret of life. And anyway, the kids were helping out. And when his boy got to 12 years old, and he said to his dad, you know, I'm 12 now. You told me you'll tell me the secret of life. He said, yeah, I promise you I'll do that. He said, come with me. So he takes him into a field, and there's a cow in this field. And he said, this is the secret of life. The cow will not give you any milk. He said, that's the secret of life. The cow will not give you any milk. He said, if you want milk, he says, you have to get your Wellingtons on, trudge through the mud, get yourself a stool and a bucket, get a halter for the cow's legs, and then you milk the cow. He said, and that's the secret of life. The cow will not give you any milk. And I just thought that was great. You know, you've got, and we're going to give you all the skills you need, you know, all the mindset and the tools you need. You have to milk the cow. You have to do that part of it. You have to say, I'm going to milk that cow. I'm going to milk that cow dry now. I've had that session with Nick. I am going to milk that poor cow dry, I'm telling you. But, you know, but we have to milk the cow. It's not going to give us the milk. And I think that's I think that is the secret of life. The cow will not give you any milk. But if you want it, you know, we have to get our wellies on.
And once... And Freddie, to stack onto that, I think once the subconscious mind has a habit of getting up every morning and milking the cow, then it's automatic. And you have a ton of milk, and you can sell the milk and give it away. And
yeah, exactly. So yeah, the cow will not, that's the secret of life. The cow will not give you milk. How bad do you want the milk? Are you willing to put your wellies on? Are you willing to go and get the bucket and do what you need to do? And milk the cow dry. That's what I'm going to do. I'm looking forward to these next few years working with Nick. We've got some plans, you know, and I love to think that a lot of you are going to come along on those things. At some point, we'll be doing live retreats somewhere. That's what Nick's promised me. So, you know, I'm holding him to it, and you all get an invite along. It's going to be some fun. So let's see over these next few weeks, months, years, you know, what do you want? And what has to happen for you to love yourself enough to treat yourself to that life? And what do you have to do? What are you willing to do? So yeah, that's my little add-on to what Nick's done here today. But it was great.
Good.
In fact, I've got a flush on. I don't even know what it is. It's thinking about the life that you know, it's a pretty cool life, you know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks.
Veronica, did you still have your hand up, or was that from before? No, you're good. Okay. Anybody else want to share? I have there's one line that I came up with when I was writing this, the Wealth Generating Mind program for all of you, that I want to share just as a teaser. But before that, does anyone else have any comments or questions? Yeah, Alan.
Yeah, when I just thought I thought I'd gone off the top of the screen. I felt 10 foot tall. It actually crossed my mind. I was thinking, how am I going to fit into bed tonight? My bed's only 6 foot. I literally felt like I had grown.
Alan, let me ask you this. What can you do in that state? What's possible?
Anything. The word that I came up with was fearless. Anything.
Anything.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look taller. You look taller. All
That'd
right,
be-
you guys
that'd
ready
be
for this?
interesting when you
Oh.
text us tomorrow and say, I was just too big for the bed last night. Just couldn't get in it.
My feet were hanging over the end.
Nicholas,
Yes, who am I? Yes. Hi, Mandy.
is it a little bit like a swish pattern?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they're all it's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's similar,
Similar, yeah.
similar principles. Yeah.
I think yours is better.
Good. Good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Is everybody ready for this one line? Yeah, Caitlin.
I think you should do a recording of that, like re-record it.
Okay.
I'd love to listen to that.
Okay. I've got a list of about 100 things to
Sure you
turn
do.
into recordings, but all right, what should I call that? What's the name of that process?
You got me.
All right. Well, you guys all think about it and
Future
leave that
self-integration.
future. So that's pretty good.
Or just fireworks, maybe.
Nick's organic growth formula.
10 feet tall.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm writing this, I'm writing the ebook and I'm just downloading. And what came to me is, people always think like they're either in a state of abundance or a state of scarcity. And what I realized is you can't not be in a state of abundance. Because if you're thinking about scarcity, you're creating an abundance of scarcity. Did everybody get that? Whatever you're thinking about and focusing on and feeling, you create an abundance of that thing. So if it's scarcity, you're not really in a state of scarcity. You have created an abundance of scarcity in your life with your thoughts. So you can't not create abundance. Does this like hit home a little bit for everybody? Like how many of you you focus on your bills and you dread your bills and then you seem to have an abundance of bills? Anybody been there? Yeah. So what we're going to do over that program and really every week on this is just change the abundance of what we're focused. You just change our focus so we have a different set of abundance. Cool. Does that sound good? All right. Well, it's lovely to see everybody. And yeah, we'll connect next week. Who is that? Someone speaking? Someone?
I think someone's left the mic on.
All right, no worries. Okay. With that, we'll say goodbye. Anything else?
Can I just do a quick share?
Yeah, Alan.
Yeah, I've been working through the Metamorphosis.
Okay.
And really enjoying it. My electricity and gas supplier in the UK currently is Octopus. And I've been with them for about 6 years. Before that, I was with British Gas. So I haven't had any dealings with British Gas for about 6 years. I got a check in the post this morning for £399. I have no idea what for. From British Gas.
So what do you think? So Metamorphosis, for those of you who don't know, it's a coaching program I did 6 or 8 weeks a few years ago that I loaded up into the library. So Alan, share what do you think the Metamorphosis program had to do with that?
I think just the way that my mind is now more focused on the manifesting abundance and wealth and money from anywhere.
Wherever.
And I can't explain it. 6 years. I've got nothing to do with British Gas.
Well, at least you better buy a new pair of trousers now that you're 6 foot, whatever it is, 7 foot tall.
Yeah, with that $399.
There's nothing wrong with my trousers.
I thought you just had a long shirt on for a minute there.
They were down to his ankles when he first sat down.
That's yeah, they were. Now I've grown.
That's perfect. Sarah.
You switched it
Okay,
back off
can you hear
yourself.
me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is my conundrum. I have an abundance mindset. I've been pursuing that for years and studying manifestation. My partner, my husband has this lack mindset. So in this situation, I'm constantly trying to pull him and magnetize him towards me, and he feels that and he gets more resistant. So as someone who's rebuilding their business literally from scratch, I'm really looking forward to the money program. And I feel like maybe I'm not the only one who has a partner with a different money mindset. And I recognize, mine comes from my family, my parents, the scarcity mindset, but I've been fighting it for years. I've been trying to get through to the other side, and I feel like I've made breakthroughs. But then again, I feel like I get pulled back into this scarcity mindset. So any thoughts on that are appreciated.
Yeah, first of all, stop trying. Stop trying, stop fighting. I would say when you get to that vibration and that state, and your husband will see the difference and he will be influenced by it. Another thing to consider is Neville Goddard talks a lot about this. I was looking for I don't have my complete reader here, but so when you start to imagine people differently, they tend to just change. And I talked about this at my Hypno Thoughts talk, which I'm going to load up for you guys in the next few days here. But how many of, and I think I've mentioned this on these calls before, but how many of you have been on your way home and you're having a mental argument with your partner and you get home and magically you just happen to have that exact same argument you were imagining in the car, right? When if you were driving home and and you caught that argument, you said, you know what? I'm going to imagine that differently. I'm going to see it going differently. And then you get home to your partner and you have a loving exchange instead of an argument. And so when we imagine our people in our lives differently, they tend to show up differently. Our energy field tends to be different. And instead of like, oh, I got to wrestle my partner into this abundance mindset where he's going to be kicking and screaming the whole way, you just go there. You start to see him there and you persist in that vision of him. And then one day he'll just go, those calls you're on, maybe I should get on them with you. Maybe I should listen to this with you. And there won't be any effort. There won't be any trying.
That would be incredible. But you're right. I do need to stop trying because it's definitely not working. And it just creates more resistance because he doesn't want to be told what to do or how to do it or when to do it.
No person does, but no man does, especially. And when I got into hypnosis and meditation and this stuff, my dad and I started butting heads a little bit because I kind of stopped drinking, and he wasn't a heavy drinker, but he had 3 or 4 beers every night. And my diet, I started to change, and I just the way I was started to change, and we would kind of butt heads, and I judged him a little bit. And then over time, I learned to release that judgment, and he ended up coming to one of my 4-day events. He hasn't had a drink in 2.5 years. He's lost a bunch of weight. We have a much better relationship now, but it stemmed from not judging and, just accepting who he was and being the best version of myself. And so I think when you do that, you're going to find it's automatic and there's really no effort.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you.
There was a story about Milton Erickson. Milton Erickson, one of the greatest hypnotherapists of all time. He said about this guy who was trying to get his donkey into a shed, and he was pulling and pulling his donkey, and it just wouldn't move anywhere. It was just resistant. So then a kid turned up and just pulled the donkey's tail, and it shot into the shed. So I think there's always 2 ways of going at it. If you're pulling and pulling and nothing's happening, think about it doing the other way. I'm not saying pull his tail, that could be cruel, but think of another way that's going to get him into that shed. If it's not working one way, think of another way. So yeah, there's always a way around it. Plus you have hypnosis, Sarah. You've got to use it. You know, remember.
I
you
know I want to use the sleep hypnosis. He's been away for work and I haven't had the chance, but I'm so eager.
But don't tell everybody that I told you that, otherwise all want to do it.
Oh. Sarah, I have an assignment for you though.
Okay.
Take a few minutes, and everybody can do this. Take a few minutes and write out your favorite things, the things you most admire about your partner. Even if you have like a list of 100 things that you absolutely hate about them, and there's one thing you like, 2 things you like, just journal about that one trait and praise them for it. Give them a compliment about it. So if they do everything wrong, but they put their shoes away, like, you know what? I love it when you put your shoes away. Just when you start focusing on that area starts to expand, you feel different, your relationship will start to change. So everybody can do this with their partners. Just journal a few things that you like and admire about your partner, no matter how hard they are to find. I'm sure you can find a few things and notice the difference. All right, we hit the hour right on the nose. And with that, just remember everybody, whether you're in scarcity or abundance, you're always in a state of abundance. You're in abundance no matter what you're thinking about. So we'll see you next week.
That was great. Thanks.